Good day. This is Tata Ceiba doing another live. Just any of you that are logged on, just say hi so I know who's on board this time. We'll get in there. First and foremost, I just want to say that I came to have the absolute truth. All right, say hi, say something so I know who's on board tonight. All right, come on. We're going to be talking about very interesting things today. Hi, Veronica. Nice to have you on board. Hey, real doctor, how you doing? Malaikum salam. All right, we're starting to see live signs of life here. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. Hey, Sopar, Malaikum salam. I know you missed the last live. Just wait a little bit. I want people to log on. Hey, Root Doctor, don't forget about what we talked about. Hey, Spencer. How you doing, Malaikum salam? Greetings, powered forward. Hello, Ismael. Malaikum salam, Chris. Good evening, Lishon. Come on, let me. Rico and Matt. It's always a blessing to have you guys on board. Now, like I always say, as I'm talking about things, you guys can ask the questions, and we'll talk back and forth about them. But always keep your comments respectful to one another, because we're not trying to encourage a negative environment here. Yes, I can, Root Doctor. All right. Let's talk about the. And Rico, this is up your alley. We talked about this not too long ago. um, Malaikum Salam, JFM. Malaikum Salam, Jovan. We talked about this topic not too long ago about what is it that we tend to use the bodies, the bones, whatever of a specific animal. Malaikum Salam, Vanessa. Malaikum Salam, Reina. Nice to have you on board. And it comes down to you're trying to harness the spirit. Notice how I didn't say soul of the animal. For instance, if you're doing black, bad works, right? Black magic, and well, surely you're not going to use a canary, a Tweety bird for that type. Now, let me explain again. I've said it before. The spirits are not physically manifested materially on this world. So the way that that works is they're gonna attack your twin, which everybody has it, aka your shadow. Now, through attacking spirit, that spiritual part of you attacks you spiritually, and then from there it will manifest to your physical body. So if you're trying to do evil works, like I say, you're not going to use a little Tweety bird because that's not really going to help you at all. So then you use like a very venomous centipede or a scorpion or venomous a snake, any animal that could really hurt you on this material world is going to hurt you spiritually. So that's why we use all kinds like, and then something like the Mayimbe, which is so sacred to us, that is like supercharging your spiritual works. And another animal that's very near and dear to this religion, the nyoka, the snake. So those types of animals are always being used. But yeah, we talked about this Rico not too long ago. Why is it that we use certain animals? And that is the reason you're trying to harness the spirit of the animal in order. And like, wow, how you doing? In order to help manifest these types of works. Malikum salam, Carlos. Salam alaikum, Tata Ganga. Um, so we I wanted to touch base on that because I guess it's not clear, or maybe nobody has ever explained that to any of you before. But yeah, you're trying to harness the spirit of the animal to manipulate it into helping you out with your spiritual workings. How you doing, Nick? I see you made it this time. I know you were kind of upset because of the last live. YouTube didn't notify you. And if it wasn't for me doing what I did, none of you would have been notified anyways. So, and let's talk about something that, for the most part, probably most of you have no concept about. You've heard of Itambo, which is the funeral rites when somebody dies. Well, we have a set of criterias in any munanso, like respect your godfather, your godmother. Don't do witchcraft to your god brothers and sisters. Respect, protect, and honor that and Ganga, which you were born from. A number, the brothers and sisters cannot be sexually intimate just for the sake of it. Now it's different if you guys are both really serious about having a serious relationship. Because I'm gonna tell you one thing: any of my godchildren that get in any relationship, at the end of the day, it doesn't work out. I do not want to hear from neither one of them because I am not choosing any sides. So let's just keep that clear. So let's just say you are going around town just talking all kinds of trash about your godparents, your munanso. You're actually divulging secrets from that munanso. Remember, every munanso works different. We have our own certain unique way of working. And you're over here putting everybody down, and you're over here just divulging the secrets. So after you have been sat down by the elders of the Munanso and given an ultimatum, and you still continue to do what you're doing, And Michael Salad guard. Hey, Osvaldo. Yes. And let's not forget about the likes and shares because if it ain't for me doing what I'm doing to send that message out to you, I guarantee you YouTube is not working in favor of this channel. I mean, the numbers are simply not there. But let's get back. Let's just say they give you an ultimatum and you still continue to do those horrible things you're doing. So it's one thing to tell somebody you're not allowed back in the Munanso, but that is not the right and proper way to do it because you already had discussed the situation with the person, including your other godchildren. I'm not saying gang up on the person, but everybody has the right as a member of the Munanso to say their say in the situation because um it affects the whole Munanso. Now only 15 of you have liked. Come on. That's not even a 50% number here. You guys want me to continue giving you all this information? You're logged on. You give those likes. I mean, the least you can do is not costing you anything. Salam alaikum, Mario. So what happens is the Tata, Yaya, and children of the Munanso, what they do is once they get sick and tired, there's no way that this situation is going to be resolved. Just like you do funeral rites for somebody that dies, you're doing funeral rites for somebody that's still alive for the simple fact that now you're killing that compact, okay, that you made with that Ganga the day that you were initiated into that house in order for the Nganga to recognize that you are in Fuiri, you are dead. Even though physically you're still here, but that Nganga is no longer committed, bound by somebody's law to protect you in every aspect of your life. So now you're off. You are no longer part of the Monanso. You are dead in the eyes of Nganga. And if you continue doing what you're doing, now that Nganga makes it his own business to go after you personally. And that's it. What worse enemy than the Nganga that you were born from? It knows you, it knows your smell, it knows everything. It knows your strength, your weaknesses, your fears. Marcel, yes, Llanto Congo, but this is for somebody that's still alive that has violated the rules of the Munanso, and it was determined that this person is not going to change his way, and then you do it just like if somebody was dead, physically dead, even though they're still alive, and then it's up to the Nganga whether it goes after or not, but it's no longer going to protect and bless the individual. Now, come on, let's see those likes, and every once in a while, a share wouldn't hurt. Have you heard Paleros forming packs from Munansos other than their own? Not really, but there's certain Patipembas. Let's just say I'm doing initiation and I want to invite another Tanta from another Munanso. There's a certain Patipemba that I do. That person stands there. He gets, whether the Nganga knows him or not, officially has to be reintroduced. And for this, and you just tell them that this individual is here to help you out in this wonderful occasion, blah, blah, blah. And that's how we do it. Well, April, betrayal happens on a daily basis. By you just moving your mouth and criticizing anybody in Namunanso, you're violating because now you're telling the world that Damunanso is weak, that the internals of Damunanso is not what they're represented to be. It's, you have chaos in there. Um, Francisco, the 20 people here. Everybody hit the like button. I'm hoping because it's not going to be a short live. Seriously. Spencer, um, that is probably Saravanda telling you there's something wrong with that in Ganga, or if you're not initiated, it's calling you. That specifically there is a telltale sign of Saravanda. Um, Rico, like I said, if you go against your Munanso and you are determined to be dead in life, and any number of things can happen because after that is not in nobody's control. What the Nganga feels fit, the punishment should be. And if it means death, it means death. I mean, that's something you cannot control. You cannot. You can't control that part. Yes, guard. Please hit that like button. So, that's something that I know most of you were probably not aware. Like I said, we have our own set of rules. In the same regards, exist certain fines, certain levels of fines that if your godparent finds it necessary to give you that fine, you must comply with that. That goes along with the pact that you made with that Ganga. So, and I don't know, I usually don't do that in this Monanso, but I've also witnessed it. I witnessed that in my own Munanso, my first Munanso, my godfather's Munanso. I witnessed that. Can the fines be heavy? Yes, they can. All right, Rico. If the one is the godfather is wicked and abuses the power of you and the other godchildren, well, that's a whole different thing. That's when you're gonna come to that Munanso. You're gonna come with a bottle of rum, with some cigars, um, any other type of offering you want to bring that particular Nganga where you were born from, and in front of your godfather, since you have already talked to your godfather, he continues his abuse. You're gonna kneel down in front of that Nganga, and you are gonna speak from the heart. You're gonna say, "I have no other choice but to leave this monanzo. I have no other choice. I feel this and that and that. I don't have to tell you because you are being witness to the abuse, the exploitation, not only to me but also my god brothers and sisters. I respectfully bring you this offering, and I'm respectfully walking away, not to talk anything, any secrets of this munanza, but I just simply cannot stay. And I guarantee you that Tata Yaya, even if they try doing anything to you with that Ganga, it's not gonna work. They're gonna have to use some other cauldron. KFM, yes, you. This is where you are born from the central Nganga. That is where you're born from the day that you get initiated. That is your protector. That is, besides your Lucero or any other cauldron that in the future you might have, you will always, that will be the center point in the spiritual life. That Nganga. And it does not matter if you become Tata Nganga, Yaya Nganga, and you start your own munanso and you are still attached to that munanso because it's like normal life. You raise your children, they go out in the world, they get married, have their own kids, and they come back with the kids, even though they have their own home, but they're always visiting your home. That's the way the munanso should be. So it does not matter you're a Tata Nganga, you have your own Nganga, you're still under the main protection. First of all, comes for the Nganga you were born from. Then your Nganga picks up the other and so forth. But You will always be under that Nganga's protection. Well, so far, I don't know. Maybe you're missing them. I don't know. Maybe there's something going on in that Munanso since you're not killed by that spirits are trying to warn you about. It could be a number of things. Spencer, reinforcing a prenda. A prenda is, an Ganga is born with certain elements, but it's your duty as the time goes by, the years go by, to listen to your spirits and add certain other elements. That's why an Ganga will always continue to grow until you are no longer in this world. Greetings, Blue Lotus. Yes, yes. JFM, you're correct about that. Being introduced to the Ganga means also that part of you is put in there spiritually and body. Correct. Because I'll say this again. The reason you must bleed in the ceremonies is because the spirits cannot see like you and me. They see extremely blurry. They come from a dark world. And by your blood is like your fingerprint. It has its own unique smell that you as a human being cannot detect, but they can. So every time you approach the Ganga, it knows you're there. It knows you. Like somebody that wears a certain cologne every day. Before you see the person, you smell him, and that's how it goes. Root doctor, he is. That's how you're funny. Well, Vanessa, then if what if your godfather abuses you but has left the country and you have no access to the Manasa to exit? Well, rightfully so, you're gonna have to, first of all, on your own behalf, enter in Finda, find, talk to that energy that we're talking about. I don't, I don't know which Nganga we're talking about, what Mpunga we're talking about. Take the same offerings I just mentioned, and then when you rightfully find another Munanso, you also, when you take that offering to the Nganga, you also take it for the previous Nganga. Trust me, they talk to one another. There's no there's no mystery in their world. It's their world's not messed up like ours. No, coffee. No, you do not. Unless you have a prenda judía, that's how it operates by you feeding it your own personal blood. You do not have to bleed every time you're in front of your nganga. You're welcome, Vanessa. So so I know a lot of yous are fascinated with our legends, but two legends. And remember, I had mentioned several occasions that there's more than one version of our creation story. I just want to break one down in order to explain a very important aspect of this religion that we are on topic right now. So in this version, Nsambi was known as Angomi, and after the creation of the universe and in total Earth itself, Angomi went into a state of slow recovery from all the energy he had used up. I mean, you can imagine the amount of force that he had to use to create the universe and everything in it, parallel worlds, dimensions, you name it, everything. So now able to go out and investigate all the wonderful things that he had created, he created a spirit called Aluvaya. So Nsambi sent Aluvaya out to gather all the information that he needed. Now remember, he was using a lot of energy up. And like let's just say an example. You work in HR dealing with 1,000, 1,200 employees, and you're dealing with 400 paperworks for individuals on a daily basis. At that moment that you are doing that paperwork, you are aware of who you're dealing with, what you're dealing, what is the issue, and but as the day goes by, you're surely gonna forget about that one individual because you have done up to 1,200, you know, 3, 4, 500 pages in one single day. So that's the same thing we're talking about here. So, but Aluvaya asking somebody to give him the power to generate matter. That way he can transport himself from one place to another, including the really remote, dark places and different dimensions that are not even visible from that world that we're talking about at that given moment. Over time, Aluvaya began to betray Zombie by recreating all the things that he had already created, like the human beings, the animals, plants, etc., making it his own. So in essence, Aluvaya recreated and built up, Earth and everything in it. So in essence, he was mimicking a zombie, betraying himself to be a god himself. But over time, Aluvaya began to lose his strength and was forced to feed off the blood of all the creatures he had created in order to stay alive. In the meantime, Isami began to recoup his energies and powers and saw that something was wrong and decided to create the Nkisi, who would keep an eye on Aluvaya and report straight back to Isami, because that's what he needed done. Now, the human beings had always thought that Aluvaya was their god, which in essence was correct, for he had recreated them, but they had received their spirit from the zombie, even though they did not know that part. So one day Amin asked Aluvaya what was the secret to everlasting life. And Aluvaya said, only a zombie knows that secret. At that moment, Aluvaya transported himself in front of the feet of the zombie. Aluvaya explained to the zombie that if he stayed in that world, he would definitely die. That's why he needed Nsambi to give him the secret to everlasting life. Now, Furious Nsambi said, Aluvaya, you have lied and tried to deceive me by abusing my powers to elevate your own self. So I'm commanding you back to that world, and as punishment, you will have to continue to feed off the essence of the blood of the creatures that you have recreated. Notice I say recreated, not created, but recreated. And not you will be no more. So after the Anchises divided up the world and they maintain vigilance over Aluvaya ever since. Now, AKA, break that word down, Ankisi or Mpungus, because that's why the world is broken up. All different part of nature, including the oceans, the rivers, and everywhere was split up. There's an Mpungu in charge of it. So that's where it really happened. So now Aluvaya has no real domain here because the Nkisi and Ungos took over it. So now he had to go to another parallel, another dimension. Now this is why it's necessary to do blood sacrifices in order to be able to interact with entities from different parallels in worlds. Through Aluvaya, but he needs that essence of blood. So if you want something from that world, you have to pay the price, which is the blood sacrifice. So I figure you guys like Bantu Legends, I'll give it that one. Hey, J Mav, welcome back. Uh, Root Doctor, what are the numbers looking like now? Marcel, you're right because it's not always a one way street. Um, Also, godchildren tend to abuse um, the godparents. So yes, that is very true. It's not all the time the elders of the Munanso abusing the godchildren. It really it's not like that all the time. And sometimes, for instance, I know for a fact the little elders that are left are not sharing any information. They're gonna take it with them. Thank you, Rude Doctor, because they've seen the abuse, they've seen the atrocities that happen in this beautiful religion, how diluted and tainted it has become. It's a platform nowadays for somebody's ego, for them to just abuse of their powers and have financial gain and power over individuals. So I've also witnessed when the elders, I'm saying, no, what you don't know by now, you're not gonna learn from me. En vez de María González, igual, María González, Blue Lotus. So it's a two-way. This is a two-way street. But we always hear about the bad godparents. The bad godparents did this and did that, but we don't hear how when you have a very good godparent that goes out their way to make sure you as a godchild is taken care of the right way, and then at the end of the day, you just want to walk over them. But then people don't say that side of the story. That people don't say about the disrespect from members of the Munanso, how they'll go out there and just put mud all over the name of that Munanso and everybody in it. They don't say about that neither. So at the end of the day, every side has three versions of the truth. Your version, my version, and the actual truth. And a lot of times we're just hearing one version of it, which is also messed up. Exactly, JFM. The story you just mentioned justifies why one must use blood in order to bridge the two worlds. Blood is a medium for communication. Has there ever been any successful substitute use? If you are not um, doing heavy workings where you're actually going to penetrate the bowels of that world in order to manipulate certain energies, yes, you can substitute. Like I said, even a candle is extremely effective. There's certain things that you do to a candle before you're able to light it, and that is super effective. Welcome, Spellbound. The Astro is the Astro so far, but all essence goes through Kalunga. Once coming in before you're born, and exiting, you are no longer here. Well, that's very nice, Marcel. Next to my old man, my tata was the most important man I have ever met, and that's the way it should be. It should be a true relationship, just like you love your father. I mean, granted, if that tata or yaya deserves it, that is the way you should treat that person. Is they are your second parent. In the eyes of God, well, that's what the word means. Godfather, or godmother, God brother, God sister. Well, so far, you know they're gonna reside in that world just because you've not seen it with your human eyes. There is a extensive world inside those cauldrons. Can they, for whatever reason or another, walk around your home? Yes, they can. If you have a strong enough cauldron, can they can that infumbe physically manifest? Um, Thank you, Jason. Can they physically manifest themselves materially? Of course. Of course they can. But just because you don't see them does not mean they're not around you. And just because you don't see them does not mean that they're not around you. Plain and simple. You don't have to constantly be reminded. I mean, that spirit's not gonna constantly tap you on the shoulder and tell you, "Hey, I'm here." I mean, that defeats the whole purpose. That means you have no faith whatsoever in that spirit. If he has to constantly remind you, "Hey, I'm here, taking care of you." Thank you, Rico. Thank you for your kind words. Marcelo Ambrijumba Congo. I'm located 1 hour west of Philadelphia, Jason. Um, so it's sad how nowadays we have to have these conversations, but I'm glad we're having them because I've also experienced not only godchildren. Let me just rewind. Even people that you go out your way to help them out with anything spiritually because they are in the rut, they really need your help, whether they pay you or not, because just because you paid somebody does not mean anything. And at the end of the day, you have to appreciate what that person did for you, being the intermarried person in between your world and that world where the Palo spirits reside, because we are that portal. We are that doorman, just like a fancy hotel. We are the ones that control that door. We have the license to go in there, like your lawyer. That you pay a lawyer to go to court and represent you. Well, that's how it is. Any tata yaya or pareo that's dealing with those spirits, it's like your lawyer. You're over here petitioning for certain things that you really do need in this world, and they're capable of giving you those results. But just because you pay somebody does not mean that you don't have to show appreciation. And I know for a fact, people don't really appreciate free things, because if somebody busted their behind to get the money to do this and that, they would appreciate those types of, whether ceremonies or spiritual works or whatever, compared to, let me get your name, your birthday, give me the situation, give me the court papers, and I'm going to take out the jam. At the end of the day, they go like this. They don't appreciate anything. They don't even give you thanks. Well, Blue Lotus, you can't feel that way just because you were wronged by your old padrino. There's plenty of people out there besides him. Why are you going to keep yourself in the runt in life and not excel at it because you have a chip on your shoulder? Remember, tatas, yayas, pareros, your god brothers and sisters, we're all human. If you find one that's so imperfect that's not working out, move on. You know, it might take you a couple of tries, but eventually you find somebody that's perfect for you. Peter, hit me up. I'll send you my email. Yes, myself. Because the minute that you help somebody and their current situation is no more, they forget about the person, the person that helped them out. They will remember the person when they were in that jam in that specific moment, but after they're free and clear, they forgot all about you, and they also forget about them pungos. That's another thing that I don't agree about, because just because they did their job, they resolved your issues, does not mean you only come to bring them an offering whenever the next time it is that you're in the jam. It doesn't work that way. Anna hit me up. I send the email, and you guys gotta be patient because um I've been extremely busy. Like I said, I have a full-time job. I have a family of my own. I have godchildren. I mean, I just got a number of things I'm always juggling on a daily, weekly basis. So if you email me, I haven't seen it. I'm not trying to dish on you. I just simply have not had the chance. All right. So I said that Bantu legends since we were on the topic of the blood. Now, like I said before, I'll get into it now a little bit deeper. There's a certain Ganga that will only function 100% correct when it's fed human blood. And not just any human blood. If you are the owner of that Ganga, your blood. But what happens with that is, just like any person that does anything in life, drinks, smokes, whatever the case may be, um, they get immune to it. They need more and more and more and more. So that little prick in your finger that used to work X amount of time ago is no longer. So now you find yourself bleeding out more and longer. And then eventually, I really have not met one that practices that type of palo that has really lived to be real old, because eventually Ganga wants your entire essence, plain and simple. Fuzz, yes, you can. If you are if you are initiated. Thank you, Chris. So, caution, caution, caution. Working, they do exist. There's a number of patipembas on how to consecrate them. They have more than one version, just like any Ganga. They'll have a certain impungo behind it, but it's totally different than a regular Ganga. Take my word for it. It's and with that Ganga, it's solely for evil. You can never do any good works with it. That is strictly just for evil. And another thing with that Ganga, it can never be inside your home. It has to be outside, whether it's in the shed or whatever, because trust me, you don't want it inside. It won't function right anyways. That is Brenda Julia spellbound. Why would somebody go down that path? I have no idea. Besides the fact, the only thing I could imagine is um through the certain pact that you do with Anganga, knowing the risks, the dangers, and people. People think they're special. They think they're going to be the only ones to survive that, and it don't happen. Like I said, eventually it will take you. Your power is very extensive. It's totally different than regular Ganga, and that's for a reason. Like it knows it's gonna get you sooner or later, so it's gonna make you feel like you are a god among humans. Seer, hit me up on YouTube, and I'll send you my Gmail. So yeah, it's like it's gonna give you the world, of course, because it'll take me a lot of work just to get 70% of the results that this individual will get in a matter of hours, because the simple fact that it's made a pact with the only thing that goes in those Ngangas are just pure evil. Like I said, they're never to be used for good. They have no idea the concept of good. Hi, tune. So caution, caution, caution. I have a number of Patipemba to consecrate those Ngangas. I have no need for that. I love Palo so much to be dealing with something that I know is a catch 21. Well, not really myself, because this is a whole different force we're dealing with. Because you're gonna you're gonna be able to drive that like that. Like it's gonna make you feel like you're God among humans. Hi, Ochun. No, nobody ever gives your blood as an offering, unless we're talking about that type of Nganga. That is the only one. JFM, it does have its own name, but at the end of the day, it's rare when you have to use it, since you have the governing Mpungo that governs that Mpumbe. So if everything is constructed properly, you don't even have to take that necessary step, because every time you deal with Mpungo, the work gets done. So that comes, all right. Talk about a properly constructed Ganga. Now, what I'm going to talk about, there might be some of you in here that know the knowledge. Um, April, yes, and I don't want to hear no questions, and I do not want to see any comments, because we're not here to give out secrets to not initiates, and if you take your oath serious, you should also feel the same way. Now, I talked briefly about el sello de fondo de canasta, or the magical seals that go on the bottom of the Ganga. And this is where 90% of the ill constructed Ngangas, that's where they suffer from. Because you can put everything else correctly, but if that part of the Nganga is constructed improper, well, the rest is not going to fall synchronized. You're not going to have a properly working Nganga at all. So, this is where the magical seal, this is where the power of the Mfumbe lives. It is the basis of all the magic of the cauldron. That's where it resides. It's the spirit of the Nkisi, along with its personality and character. That's how important that is. But there's four certain things that this is where that oath part comes in. If you know it, you keep it to yourself. Um, there's four major consecrations that go along with that. Now, the first, like I said, there's four. The first one is called Engando, and it's formed by the forces of seven Inkisis, whose job is to help the cauldron have balance with all its components. In essence, it's the cauldron's cane. It's what keeps it standing straight. So, if, like I said, there's four consecrations. That's the first one. The second one is the energy called Katiki, and its job is to help the Ganga move through space and time from the world of the dead to the world of the living and vice versa. It helps unlock and open the portals between the worlds. So you see how important that energy is? Because without that ability, you're not going to harness any energies from that world to come in here and help you out in this world. So you see how important they're lacking in any of these energies. And Ganga is not correct and it's not going to work. Plain and simple. The third energy is called Tonga, and its job is to give the Nganga evolution. Without it, nothing can manifest from the Nganga. Absolutely nothing can manifest from it. And the fourth energy is called Pepete, and it's the living matter that magnetizes the spirit of the dead inside the cauldron and all of the activity inside in the cauldron. It is actually what you would consider the witnesses to the creation and birth of the seal itself. And then there's another aspect of it, but I think I talked enough about that. It's just to prove my point that just because you have an Nganga does not mean it's proper. You really gotta have um, a knowledgeable Tata to construct that for you. No shortcuts. The minute that one shortcut is taken, it kills the whole entire Nganga. Like it's thrown off. Everything must be. It's a well-oiled mechanism inside there. Everything must be through their micromillimeters precise. Alaikum Salah J. Now, April, that's not interesting at all. That is something you do not want any part of. What seal? I explained it. If sello de fondo de canasta or the magical seal that must be placed there with a combination of other things. And like I said, four main energies that I'm not going to talk about how they're constructed, how they're consecrated. So then you have, if you don't have those things, how you expect that in Fumbe to actually vitalize itself in there? You're actually going to leave the Nganga open to dark spirits because the Mfumbe cannot control the energy to protect itself, that world, like it's supposed to. It's like you're going to war and your fort where you're at has no walls. So you're just standing there in a tower. How are you going to stop the enemies from coming in? Because there's no barrier to stop them from coming in. They're coming in. Thank you, Veronica. Oh, and by the way, Veronica, thank you for the donation. Forgot to mention that earlier. Thank you, Jason. No, spellbound. The Kini Kini is different. Jay, it has to do with that plus other aspects. Like I said, I'm not going to give out secrets. Simple. You're welcome, Carlo. Seer, hit me up on YouTube and I'll send you my Gmail. Have you got any questions? I see there's plenty of yous on board. I hope you guys are at least liking. So far, you are correct, but it's not necessary a mandate. And I explained this before. I'll explain it again. You brought in a good point. I'll read it. Is it true when a Palo dies, he becomes a guide for the next initiates in line? This is why we have to get initiated. It's really not for you, that part. It is to harness the energy of someone that was once initiated in this religion, whether it was 500, 600 years ago in Congo, and has been waiting around. So through that initiation in your body, you're sucking in that spirit, and that spirit is what's getting cut and not you. Plain and simple. Thank you, real doctor. And that's something that a lot of people have no concept about. No, hey, not. Your first and Ganga must be created from your Tata. You don't have an Nganga at that point, so nothing gives its birth without an Nganga. After you receive it, that is the sky's the limit. You can become a Tata or Yaya yourself, initiate whoever you want to initiate, construct as many Luceros or Ngangas that come your way over the years, but at that moment, you cannot construct that Nganga. You don't have the authority. You will have the authority once your Nganga is born. From that point on, you can create whatever it is. Yes, spellbound. You're right, Jay. We can't. You know, it's not your padrino. Your powers will come eventually through those empungos. Your padrino is just a human being. He is in between both worlds, but once you are initiated, now you're under the wing of a certain empungo, and they determine what gifts to give you and when. All right, Spencer Scott, let's break this down. Um, a lot of people have Eguns confused with Palo. We venerate our ancestors. Yes, we do. And here's a good question: what is the classification of spirits that pertain to that aspect of being your ancestors that are in that cauldron that you're able to manipulate in order to help you out? What is the name of the classification of the spirit related to your ancestral part in Palo? And I don't want to hear Egun. Egun is not Palo. Reina, of course, Anganga has been present, but at that moment, you cannot create because at that moment, you don't have that authority. You can stand there vigilant, and your godfather or godmother, your godfather has to do that part for you. From his Nganga, your Nganga must be born. Plain and simple. Of course, Opar. I actually had to tell them tone it down because too many of my family members were upset because they were seeing my manifested uh and Fumbe walk around the house. No, spellbound. Spencer, no. It's an actual working spirit. So it's not double cool. It's an actual, and you've heard it 1,000 times. You guys hear the phrases 1,000 times, but have no concept of what those phrases mean. No, Jay. JFF, no. That's an Impungo. No, so far I'm talking about manifested, 100% manifested. Look like human beings. No, it's not in Kisi. Come on, don't have me have too much fun on your account. No, Reina, it's not a Simbi. It's not Salabanda. It's not in Koto. Thank you, Jason. Through telephone. There are certain things in my spiritual room that I will not do, like a video conference call. Only my godchildren are allowed to see the inner workings of my spiritual room. No, Veronica, it's not in Pungo. All right, I'll tell you. Have you ever heard the phrase "en dun dun"? You hear the phrase "en dun du ko en dun du en dun dun." You're having a conversation, a specific conversation, because we all have our endunduns. It's the counterpart of the eguns, but it's gravitated towards Palo. But they're not like the eguns that they have their free range. They're, you know what I mean, they're roaming around. The endundus under the authority of the Mpungo, the Mfumbe. Spellbound, you did not say endundu. I think you said uh, Mpungo or something like that. Let me see. Let me look back. Spellbound. Let me see. Oh, you did say that. I'm sorry. Spellbound said it. I'm sorry, Spellbound. Yeah, you are correct, Spellbound. And Doom Doom. So that's when they're more like a warrior type mentality, especially gravitated more if you were in this particular religion, whether you died back home in the Congo or you were brought here as a slave, whatever the case may be. This was your heart, this was your passion, and you choose to be in Doom Doom because sooner or later, you know, because once you're elevated to that level, you're part of the universe, you're part like in zombie, you really know what's gonna happen. You're like, I'll stick around for 300 more years because my great grandson is gonna be in this religion and I'm gonna be there. And whenever he needs my help, he's gonna go to that cauldron, he's gonna summon me, and I'm gonna knock some heads off for him. So far, I don't understand. Would it be life changing by seeing your Mfumbe manifest? I guess. Sorry, Spellbound. Yes, Marcel. That's why we sing certain songs. No, Josh, it does not. Your the main Mfumbe did not necessarily have to be part of Palo when they were alive. They just chose to accept that duty, and that's it. And once you are in that world, you are transformed by that Mpungo. Now you are like if that was the only thing that you knew. You know all the secrets, all the mysteries. Jovan, the Impungos love us to the very end, but don't abuse the power, because I'll tell you one, Mama Chola, if you really get on her bad side, I don't care, you're her child. That Impungo can be pissed at you for the rest of your natural born life. And I said time and time again, why is the Palo called the Walking Dead? All right, so far. Because I'll say again, that day that you get initiated, the government named the person that your original person that was born into this material world dies that day, and spiritually is reborn under a Palo name, because they will not recognize that person. A person has to die in order to be free of sin in the eyes of Nsambi, and that's how you're gonna get your life back on track, because this is your second chance of life. If from that point on you bring karma into your life, that's on you. That is it. That's why from that point on, you have to maintain as humble as possible. Help those. I mean, everything good about what a person should be, you should. Now, are there people good that are gonna take that you're humble and you're so sweet, whatever, as weakness and test you? Of course. Thank you, Rude Doctor. Of course they are. But then that's up to your godparents to teach you how to defend yourself, plain and simple. Why did I say you have to have ethics when only in Ganga? Because a simple fact that, unlike popular belief that that spirit is your slave, this so far from the truth. So by you not having ethics, not having morals, they're gonna continue doing what is asked of them to an extent. Once they hit their limit, they're gonna run back to somebody and say, "Yo, this person's doing this and this. I want to break the contract. I cannot no longer stand behind this person who is mistreating his godchildren, doing witchcraft, whatever the case may be. He just abuses of the normal people because he has access to these wonderful powers from the Impungos, so forth and so on. And once that contract is broken, game time. And you are not going to like what's going to happen. In the meantime, if you don't have ethics or morals, you're going to see how the teachings, the information that should be flowing from that cauldron to your mind is going to cease. It's going to stop. That's it. Good questions. Can a muerto be offended if you don't have faith in them? Of course. And this is what I tell people all the time. I do not care if you came out of pocket for X amount for that job. If the spirit sees, feels, knows that you really have no faith in them, you're wasting your time, the sacrifices, everything, your money, because it's not gonna work in your favor. Now you have a person that the only thing that they can afford is one single red apple, and they come to that Ganga, here you go, this is all I can afford, but it's from the heart. Whatever that person asks for, bam, it's yours. So far, that is to call certain entities. Besides, it's also used as a musical instrument. But if you have no faith, you don't really belong in this religion. And then another thing that goes with that, you might have the faith, right? But you think these kind of people, for instance, I don't know how many people are actually on, because my numbers vary. But let's just say there's an extra 40 people on board. They're not liking, they're not hitting the like, or they're not sharing because they don't want to be on board recognize it. They're not commenting neither. They're not even gonna say hello because they're afraid of what their parents, their neighbors, their coworkers are gonna say. If they even find out that their faith is in this religion, that's a double-edged sword because now you're refusing to show all the respect and dignity that those impungos deserve. But yet, in the comfort and the privacy of your own home, you're the grand brujo. You know, you are Harry Potter. You are so sure of yourself. You love the religion to death. But outside your home, you don't want to wear anything that distinguishes yourself from the rest. Thank you, Brujo Ryan. So, yeah, a lot of people are also they're mistaken in that aspect. It is not how you behave in front of them because they're always vigilant. They're always watching you. Don't think because your cauldron's at home, they're not right next to you in your workplace. That is only a person that's closed-minded thinks that way. That they think that that physical and Ganga must be cauldron must be next to them in order for the spirit to be there. You're so wrong on so many levels. That spirit came from another dimension, the dimension that you think that they're not gonna able to leave their your own spiritual room and accompany you in your daily routine. Coffee. What I'm saying is there's an extent where you like in your workplace, that's fine because you know you don't want no problems over there whatsoever. But in general, why should you care if your own mother is Christian? Why should you care her opinion towards you? It takes a strong person to stand up to your parents. Why should you care if your actual neighbors don't talk to you because they think your religion is taboo? You can deal not talking to your neighbors. At work, I do understand because you know that is your bread and butter. You're not trying to put yourself in a bad environment. But other than that, you can deal with the criticism outside of that. Your parents, you know, your siblings, your friends, your neighbors. Exactly, Osvaldo. You know, when you're constantly denying, but then you're going back in front of that spirit to petition them to help you here and there, they get offended. And have you kept it a secret myself for 20 years? Like I said, granted, there's certain situations, but other than that, I really don't care who in my job knows I am in it. Anybody outside I really don't care. It is me. This is my life. This is my path. I'm living my path. I'm not worried about the next person. For real. It does not phase me. Well, that's good, myself. See, that's the right kind of attitude, Sean. He, I don't talk to a family member because my spiritual path, and I don't care one bit. It's the way I feel. Actually, so far, logic will tell you that all the waters of the river eventually ends up in Kalunga. So, from the bottom of your heart, give your offerings. By the same token, include Mama Chola, because that is her domain. And just ask for Mama Chola to deliver that offering to Kalunga, because the waters of the river end up in the oceans. So, like I said, I mean, that's just the way I feel. Granted, every every head is a different world, but in general, it's just a rule. You want time pungos to bless you every day of your life, but you're afraid to tell your neighbor that you are in the religion. At the end of the day, your neighbor does not pay your bills. At the end of the day, your neighbor does not care you're prospering. At the end of the day, if you don't have no groceries in your house, your neighbor's not knocking on the door, and here you go, $200 worth of groceries. So at the end of the day, why should you care about their opinion? JFM, there's no need for that. And Paka is for when you're working anywhere in nature that you cannot physically carry the Ganga. That Empaka is consecrated to the Ganga. It's like having the Ganga there. Marcel, just sit in my comments, and when I see it, I'll send you my email. But like I said earlier, be patient because at the end of the day, I'm extremely busy and I can't really see everybody's or respond to everybody's emails. Well, Veronica, sometimes your enemies are your family members. So, like I said, if you're not living with your family to begin with, I mean, I don't really care what people think. I really don't. It's my life. It's my spiritual path. Only I can walk it. Only I can fix whatever problems I have in that spiritual path. So at the end of the day, I don't care. I really don't. Guys, there's a number of things that you could do. Yeah, Marcel, just hit me up and I'll try to remember after this live and I'll look down in my comments. Any questions? Fuzz, at first you don't because especially you guys that have a language barrier, is it the right thing that eventually you do learn somewhat? Yes. Is it necessary at this point? No, because that's another myth that if you don't know Spanish, you can't be in this religion. No, no, no. Because let's speak the truth. If you do not know Bantu, you can't be in this religion. This is not a Spanish religion. The diaspora is controlled by them for the simple fact that the Africans were dropped off in this part of the world. But the true essence of it, that's Bantu. Pues ya, so muy muerto is you have the Impungo governing the Infumbe, right? Now the Infumbe's job is to control, boss around, coordinate the efforts of all the lesser spirits. That's its purpose. Good evening, Swarm Seed. Nice to have you. Ah, Girl Star, have you ever mistaken a spirit for a person while out away from home? How can you tell the difference when the spirits manifest more close to what a real human looks like? Look at the eyes. They have no white. The white of the eye, they don't have that. It's like you're gonna see exactly. Might take you a brief moment to realize that, but look at the eyes. So yeah, you know how they say the eyes are the the portal to the soul, the door to the soul. Just look at their eyes, and you see. It's all part for the most part. Yes. Any other questions? Oh, Veronica, I don't understand. Caso fuerte, like I said, I'm not to do a comparison, which I hate to do. I got you in Santeria. It's that the comparison to that type of energy. It's an energy that it's rarely used anymore, even though I myself have plenty of patipembas to work with that energy. God is no. If you're not initiated, you cannot be working with no Palo sticks or anything else. It's a rite of passage. Because you might have the Palo sticks, but you don't have licencia, you don't have license. So if you don't have no license, how are you gonna harness the spirits that live in there? How are you gonna harness anything to help you out? Plain and simple. They're gonna avoid you. They are. And they're gonna get annoyed at you if you're not initiated and you're trying to work with them in self-preservation. They're gonna attack you. And boy, you're very welcome. And like I said, I always say I don't claim to have the absolute truth because the absolute truth comes in many parts. You want the absolute truth, it's going to take you a lifelong journey to just pick up all the different truths to combine them to figure out the absolute truth. Do I try to guide people as best as I can? Yes, ultimately, you are your own people. You have your own brains, and anybody that does not like what I'm saying, like I said, you're not obligated to stay and watch my platform because I when I talk about things that I dislike that are going on in religion, I never mention anybody by name. If your conscience is bothering you to that point, stay off the platform. That means you're doing something wrong. Joe, I don't know the name of all the seven worlds. I know Salavanda is a gatekeeper of them. Because let me explain something to you. All right, all the views that are in this religion, initiated, depending on how you live your life, how many people you worked out, depending on the information that you manage to learn in life, you are going to be more elevated than this person, but that person in front of you is going to be more elevated than you. So to think that you go into the same world is nonsense. Because the concept of the seven worlds, because we even have it in Santeria, and the Christians stole that concept from us by saying the concept of seven gates of heaven. Notice how everything it's in conjunction with one another. But Obatala and Santeria controls the seven worlds, and Salavanda controls it in Palo. And depending on how you live your life, ethically, morally, um, if you were a good godchild, goddaughter, godfather, godmother, and in general, if you were a good person and you use the religion to help humanity out, well, of course, you're not gonna stay in the lower level just because you were initiated. That does not say that you're gonna stay there with everybody else that really didn't put their honest effort forward. So that is a perk of living a good life here. You will get rewarded in the other world. How can you tell when a spirit is trying to mount you? Well, you're gonna feel this. electricity in the back of your head, especially. And then the closer it gets to the front of your head, the more danger you are of actually going into a trance. But ultimately, if you fight it and you tell that spirit, no, 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 I'm not going to let you mount you, they're bound by Sambi's law, they have to back off. So, yeah, so don't think. It even goes for mainstream religion. Do you really think because your grandmother was a Christian all her life, but really did not go out her way to leave this world a better place than when she found it? Because that is our goal in life. That is, to me, that is our purpose in life. All this is a test. We're supposed to come to this world and leave it in a much better place than when we came into it. So just because your grandmother was a Christian for 70 years, but didn't really go out her way to do any positive changes, you honestly think that your grandmother is going to be in the same part of heaven that Mother Teresa is? I mean, think about that. So it's the same concept in Palo. No, Rose, no, that won't happen. No, Jason, that has nothing to do with that. That is a milestone in the religion when you get initiated as Tata and Kisimalongo or Yaya and Kisimalongo. That means you are above a regular parero and, of course, a engayo. That gives you hierarchy, which makes that also now allows you to physically be working in the initiations yourself. Because by then you must receive your embedded, which gives you that right. That's a rite of passage. Welcome, Veronica. So far, don't. His question is it true that Fidel Castro had Paredes warning him of political enemies? For those of you that don't know this man's story, this man in 1959 went to Africa and had Ogun crown on his head. So the chances of him to being an actual Palero is extremely high. Why do you think he survived 9 American presidents, over 600 attempts at his life, not to mention countless battles with very bad illnesses, and yet he retired on his own terms and died peacefully? A lot of people around him that visited him when he was not feeling good, the last person being Hugo Chavez, okay? It's funny how the symptoms that Fidel was having translated over to Hugo, and within 6 months, Hugo was dead. So yeah, Fidel. A lot of people don't know that he was. I know for a fact he was in Santeria, son of Ogun. And he had it done in 1959 in Africa. How you doing, Steph? Um. So at the end of the day, like I said, Fidel kept his enemies at bay through the workings of the religion. That is like he should have been out of the picture a very, very, very long time ago. Marcel, yes, he was. I remember I was supposed to get my Ocha initiation in Cuba, and I was debating. Because remember, those borders were closed for Americans for a long time. So the plan was to go in there because Fidel always told his soldiers, the people in the airport that are in charge of the passport to always ask the individual, what is your reason, your visit to Cuba? And if you say Santeria or Palo, then they will close that passport, give it back to you, and not stamp it. As a matter of fact, my godfather's godfather was a higher up in the Castro administration. And my godfather, when he got initiated, he told me there was a shortage of rum that year on the island. And of course, these religions, it takes massive amounts of rum for the consecrations and stuff. And his godfather went down to wherever he had to go, told the person in charge in those barracks. They made a phone call. They waited several hours. Then the soldiers pulled up to his house with cases of rum because Fidel said, give them whatever they need. So I know for a fact he was part of the religion. Myself, Chango, yes, Hugo Chavez had Chango. He also has Sidahaya. And he had it done in Cuba. So it's not rumors in Bode because I know for a fact he was a Santero. So what's to stop him? Because Fidel was a very, very, very spiritual person. Grew up all around these types of African-based religions. Who's to say that he wasn't a Parero before he became a Santero, and through the power of the Mpungos, he was given that revolution on a civil platter. Because that's another thing. The way he won that should have never had happened. He had divine intervention. JFM only that Mpungo associated with you. You don't really either Mpungo or your personal spirit. Plain and simple. You can't be mounted if you are the son of Insalasi. You're not gonna get mounted by Mama Choa. There's usually that Mfumbe that guides you, that made the pact with you, is the one that's gonna possess you. Can you hear me? All of you are saying that the sound is off. Can you hear me? God is, and Jason is saying, Marcel is saying, the mic is off. Can you hear me? This always happens right around this time frame too. Thank you, Ochun. Can you hear me? Is it getting better? Bodhi, yes and no. Because every time you get mounted, it generates your energy. All right, thank you, Veronica, Stephanie, Ochun, Group Doctor, Joshua. So that's another thing you have to really watch it. If you allow that spirit to mount to possess you, your energetic force would deteriorate. There's actually a rule in Santeria. If you get mounted today, your godparents will tell you you're not allowed to go to any tambon for the next 3 months. Because there's a secret to that. You need to regenerate what's already deteriorated. Now, if you go to another tambon in another week and get mounted again and again and again, Bye bye. Your body's not gonna hold up. So far for everything and anything. So that's why it's important to know the energy, the frequency of your particular spirit. Because you're always going to have these dark entities pretending to be something that they're not. So you can allow them to mount you so they can come into the party and grab all the offerings, sacrifices, everything it is, and then they leave. In the meantime, they're hitting your body so hard because they really don't care. They're not here for you. They're not here for you. It's a huge difference between the spirit that's here for you and one that's just freeloading. Well, J Math, you don't really have to have a particular gift when you get initiated. Over time, your medium powers will develop. That is part of the deal. So you don't really have to have those gifts beforehand. Yeah, and Bode, and remember, she's the mother of everything. Which, ironically, at the very, very beginning of Bantu belief, Kalunga was actually a male essence. It wasn't until the times of slavery that everything got so with one another, integrated with one another, that male essence was transformed into a female essence because they compared it to Jemaya. Well, so far, the first thing you'll notice when there's a negative energy around you, especially the back of your head, if it's a very intense spirit, it's gonna really affect here. That's the first sign. Then you're gonna notice how your energy, you were revitalized, you were golden, and then your energy keeps on going down because it's like spiritual vampirism. They'll continue to suck. Exactly myself. She gave birth. She's the mother of everything. But originally, she was not a female aspect. She really wasn't. Well, J Mab, but people are just trying to get into these traditions just to um, manipulate humanity through the gifts that they might get from the spirits. That is not a true reason to be in this religion. You're supposed to be helping people, not manipulating what you can get from them. And then another thing that goes on. Oh, I've been initiated for 30, 40 years. I know all the mysteries, so they think they do. And if you mess with me, I'm just gonna do juju on you, just instilling that fear, which brings more taboo to this religion. Chris, that is up to you. Exactly, Zola. Salam alaikum. Thanks for sharing. I must say that people think mountains and mediumship is fun. It's rough, very taxing on the body. One mountain could put you down for days. Exactly. Especially if you are ignorant to the fact that you allowed an energy that is not the energy that's supposed to mount you. They're really gonna do a number on you. They could care less if you live or die. Yes, negative spirits do encourage you to indulge in vices and addictions. That's why they're called negative spirits. Well, Jovan, if the question is, the animals are supposed to eat the offerings, is what I'm taught. Okay, if you did a cleansing on somebody, you're not gonna consume that body of that animal because it's the whole purpose of it. You're sucking up all that energy, transferring it into the Ganga, which has a receptacle to contain that negativity so it doesn't interfere with the other energies that it needs to work properly. But not 100% of that energy is going to be transferred into that vessel through the feeding. So it's going to retain that. So you're going to come and consume somebody's bad energies. How you think that's going to go? So you give it back to Mother Nature, the cycle of life. Exactly, Zola. They don't ever talk about I want to get mounted because I know my particular spirit is a great healer, and I know there's somebody in this room that is in dire needs of this cancer. Their thing is an ego trip, plain and simple. But they don't realize the consequences of every time you get mounted, you lose a part of yourself. My padrino, J said, my padrino said that he used to live in Chicago where the thugs were getting into Palo to be better criminals. I believe that. Thank God there are not many of us left that know of a certain spiritual bath that are done with certain plants, and it's not the normal plants that you might think it is. That gets fed and everything. It has its own consecration that makes you invisible. That's real bad. You want to be super criminal? That's the kind of bad. And thank God there ain't that many people left alive that know how to do that bad. I should have not even brung that up. No, Rico, it's not. It's a cycle of life. And like what took the essence out of that offering, now what's remaining of it, let Mother Nature take care of it. Yes, you lose a part of yourself. That's why it's extremely important to control that and not to be mounted all the time, especially with the wrong spirit. Can you hear me? Okay. Spencer said perfect now. Alaikum salam, Alejandro. Entra, push it. No, I don't even want to talk about that tense and spellbound. It's actually three, not four. All right, people. I've had enough fun for one night. Thank you for blessing me with your time. Stay humble, be kind to one another, and may Sam be bless you and yours. Salam alaikum.